And I found it in my stuff.
It won't unlock.
Thank you.
But it had your name on it. I think mine told me my drawer.
That's right.
Guys, you got a Zoom room? These are.
Hopefully I won't call. I was trying to figure out what these were. Stephanie, when you were gone, I had to real quick come up with something. I got those.
I should have done that today, whatever they actually want to or
It's not right. I would say between 6 and 7. I know, isn't that great?
She came around, didn't she?
Hopefully, I did never have to try.
I'll check it.
Before we start the meeting tonight, I wish to have a moment of silence for the Justin family. And after that, participate in the concealed flag as you service.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order at 6:33. Are there any modifications to the agenda?
I have an action needed item, the recommendation to remove the shuttle portion for the Peyton Transport S31 from the fleet contract 2019-2023 with Sarah Peyton for her request effective January 3rd, 2022.
Do I have a motion to accept the modifications as presented?
I so move.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call. Carol? Yes. Amy?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Stephanie? Yes. Steve?
Yes.
There it is. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Motion, did you vote? Yes. I second you. Motion carries, thank you. Next is recognition of visitors and comments from the audience that are welcome if they've signed in on anything not already on the agenda. All right, we do have a presentation tonight. Ms. Christine Reitman and Jay Myers, Career Connected Learning Initiative.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a moment here to transfer to our screen.
Is it going to be on the screen?
Yes.
All right, on we go.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time this evening to give you an update on the Career Connected Learning Initiative within Brown County Schools. I'm going to talk just a little bit, give a little bit of background and lead in, and then I'm going to have our master teacher from Brown County High School go ahead and really give you the update from across the state, region, and locally what's occurring with Career Connected Learning. So, of course, our vision and mission statement is up here for Brown County Schools. With every initiative that we do here in Brown County Schools, we connect it directly back to our mission and our vision. So it's always important to show and make sure that everyone understands what we're working towards every day. Is everyone very okay with the math? So as many of you know, our target for students when they walk through our PK to adult system is that at the end of their graduation, whatever that might be, maybe that's high school, maybe that's at the end of their adult learning here at the Career Resource Center, this is our target, our graduate profile. And our students work across our system to obtain the competencies that you see listed here. We want to make sure that all of our students are socially, emotionally well, that they are communicating, great communicators, that they are engaged in our schools and our community, that they are innovators, and that they show their strong work ethic. And underneath each of these competencies, you will see the definitions associated with those. So this is a good reminder as well as to what we're working towards each and every day with that mission and the vision. I wanted to share with you some state influences that brought us to Career Connected Learning in this district. You can see some of the statistics listed up here. About 40% of our high school students in Indiana have no plan for life after graduation. And here in Brown County Schools, we just don't think that's acceptable. And Career Connected Learning is one of the ways in which we are working to change that. Of the Hoosier graduates who do pursue post-secondary education after high school, fewer that have completed the diploma program on time. And then a final statistic to share with you is that as more employers require those post-secondary credentials for entry-level jobs, it's just 25% of our Indiana students that secure a post-secondary credential in the 4 years following high school, and only 33% are securing that credential within 6 years. So we do have these state influences that are coming to us and that we have known about for quite a while that lead us to want to have this Career Connected Learning Initiative. There were also regional influences that I want to make sure that we remember as well. You all recall that we adopted the Ready Schools core principles back when we accepted the $500,000 Ready Schools grant. And we've been working ever since then to make sure that we are meeting these principles that have been outlined by the Indiana Uplands region that we are in. So this is a slide to show you our very specific Career Connected Learning Initiative. It's written out here for you to remind us that we have a Career Connected Learning Initiative in this district so that every student will learn about themselves and learn about career opportunities as they're planning for whatever education or training they need to pursue beyond high school. And this is a preschool to adult pathway system that's going to provide a more relevant and personalized education system for them related to their interests and career options. So the last time I was here to give an update to our team, I think was May. And since then, we have quite a team in place across Brown County Schools. And our team is listed out here. We have, of course, our administrative staff at both the district level. Thank you for this position. And then, of course, the building levels as well with our principals and assistant principals. We also have our master and mentor teachers who are known as our instructional leadership team and our academy leaders. So our academy leaders are listed out there. We have 3 academy leaders, Rebecca Bryan, Jim McFall, and Chris Townsend. And of course, our guidance counselors, Donna Allwine and Brad Harding. So tonight, though, I get to introduce you to.
Remind me what the academy years are. I mean, I know 2000 is obviously never done.
Yes, so he is overseeing that particular academy and leading the development and the work along with Career Connected Learning. So he and his colleagues, Jim and Chris, they work to create the Career Connected Learning lessons that are given every Tuesday during SRT. And then they also will be working to establish partnerships and councils and all the work that goes into that, implementing programs of study and academies. Yes, since the beginning, you have 5 years ago, right? and our guidance counselors, Donna Allwine, Brad Harding, but tonight, Jay Myers is our Career Connected Learning Master Teacher at Brown County High School. And he's going to share with you where we are right now and what's happening across the state, regionally, and locally. And Meg share with you also a little bit about giving some insight into what he's been working on specifically at the high school. Jay?
All right, so my name is Jay Myers and I am CCL Master Teacher at the high school. So basically what we've taken NIET and the leadership structure set up through NIET and then kind of cross that with what Trustees worked with Career Connected Learning. And that's kind of how my position came about. Formerly, I'm a U.S. History and Psychology teacher here at the high school. This is my first year here in this role. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of give you guys a little bit of some information on some changes from the state and how my team with the academy leaders has proposed some different programs of study that we're looking here to offer at the high school here next year, and how that's going to meet some of the new requirements from the state. So the way I've got this set up here is looking at the state. They've got a new GPS dashboard, which is a data tracking system that's going to be used for like accountability. And we've also got the next level programs of study, the graduation pathways. To give you a little information on the Regional Opportunity Initiative, or ROI, which I've taken part in here over the last several months. And then just a local update as far as what my position entails and what my team has been working on here. So the first thing here is the Indiana GPS dashboard. And what this is to try and create a more holistic approach to the accountability system in the state, where it's not just solely focused on test scores and growth and things like that. They're trying to incorporate other elements such as career and post-secondary readiness, communication collaboration, work ethic, and then also civic, financial, and digital literacy. And the goal is to try and find ways to measure each one of these elements all the way from kindergarten all the way up to high school, and to track those indicators to make sure that there's growth occurring in these areas, not just on standardized test scores. And what's really awesome about this is, from what Christy presented with our graduate profile, you're going to see a lot of commonalities here with communication and definitely work ethic are through the key things. Those are right off of our graduate profile. So things that we're going to be keeping track of in the district anyways are now going to be tracked at the state level. And there's some different, I know it's a little harder to see. This is on the state's website, or we can also possibly send out the presentation at some point as well. But there's some proposed ways that schools are going to be able to track these different parts of the GPS dashboard. Some of them are still in the works. As you can see down here at the bottom, it has some just aspirational indicators that the state is still kind of deciding on how they're going to be able to try and measure those things, such as like extracurricular participation and career exploration at the elementary level. Right? So I guess I was going to point here too, at the high school level, a lot of the same kind of things they keep track of. High school graduation on track rate, got AP course enrollment. They are now moving the standardized tests at the high school from the I-STEP to the SAT. And then attendance is going to be a factor there as well. Some of the new things that are starting that they're going to be keeping track of here is the graduation pathways completion, right? And that is going to involve the programs of study that we'll be presenting here over the next couple of weeks. Got strength of diploma, FAFSA completion rate is going to be one of the factors that they're going to be using to assess schools. Then even after high school, looking at employed, enlisted, and enrolled, median income, labor participation rate, and then sustained employment. So keeping track of graduates even after they're in school. Yes.
Remind me which class is the first one that graduates under the new path?
So this is, I think, going to be finalized at the end of the year, and they're going to start keeping track of the GPS dashboard, I believe, in 2024. So the
So the
current,
graduating class of 25. That what that would be?
Our current sophomores actually are on the graduation path.
Okay, that's why I was
Yes.
trying to remember what year that was
Yeah.
transitioning. Okay.
Sophomores, and then this is for, what will be our seventh graders, will be the first one.
Who will experience it for
Who will experience the GPS dashboard.
Okay.
yes.
Obviously, no college. But what does career mean?
And all the stuff, it's all kind of, the state is kind of outlining. It's still kind of a work in progress to an extent, right? Even like if you see down here, like aspirational indicators, they have the civic, financial, digital literacy competency. So it's something that the state is wanting to measure, but they have not actually quite determined how they're going to go about doing that. Yeah.
But career credentials is skilled trades, other things, other than 2 or 4 year college.
Yes, that's correct.
But actually some form of post-secondary education.
Yes.
Okay.
That they would be obtaining prior to high school, in the high school, or maybe if we see want to the outcomes post high school.
Right.
That's why
So they're gonna want to subtract this afterwards?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is a huge new thing.
It has been a goal for a lot of districts, I think, for a while. It's definitely a very large feat.
Yes.
To be able to do.
Because even colleges have to really struggle with that, so I'm trying to imagine doing that at high school. That takes a lot of data.
We're able to do that to some extent because we have the resource center. We can track how many diplomas, we can track how many high school equivalencies if someone is finished. We can also track our CCMA credential, our CNA, our electrical, and we know which students were part of Brown County kiddos at one point. So
Right, but so what is every kid doing when you're out of high
Right.
school? That is a really tough thing. As I said, even colleges, you have much stronger connections with students, I think, as far as their career. It's really tough to do, and that's a lot of data. That's another person to create that data, right? That is a really big job.
Yes. It's hard data to get their hands on, but I think it can be very useful for the schools if they know where their graduates are going and what their graduates are doing.
No, I think it's great, but it's just really.
So, how much data have you collected to this point?
On this, currently this year at the high school, we've been keeping track of students that are on track. So just as far as credits.
Or let me rephrase my
Okay.
This is new today, correct? These things some of these things exist and some of them haven't existed. So the question I'm asking is what data do you have to this point? What things have you been tracking?
So we've been tracking the high school graduation on track credits. We have been tracking AP, our dual credits. We've been tracking SAT performance, and we've been tracking attendance. We've also been we can't track graduation pathway completion yet because those students are sophomores right now. college and career credentials, we have not been, we have tracked that for our career tech education students, like a student that might go for a culinary arts certification. But beyond CTE, we haven't tracked that yet. Strength of diploma, we have tracked that. That means, do they get a general education diploma? Do they get a 40? Did they get an academic honors diploma or a technical honors diploma? So we do track that. FAFSA completion, we do have rates of that as well. So I guess if we look at longitudinal, employed, enlisted, and enrolled, that's a little harder to track. We do have some data around that. Median income, we would not have that specific in school corporation. We would have that through other data sources. Labor participation rate, all of those types of things would come from the U.S. Labor, Statistics Bureau, for example.
So out of all that data that you collected today, what things have you done to adjust the curriculum?
It's a really good question. I mean, I don't know if you want to answer part of it or not, but I think the first step was really creating an initiative to recognize this needs of time, attention, focus, personnel. And then we have implemented tools such as mapping, which is a college career readiness tool, to help kids explore not only colleges, but career opportunities. In addition to that, many of our teachers, such as our bio-med teacher, our computer science teacher, Chris Townsend, in manufacturing, they often have employers, businesses, partnerships, things like that come in and work with our students, so that's added to their curriculum. There's really multiple layers of this. Probably don't want to hear me talk about all of the things, but it is definitely work in progress.
My question is that how often is this data collected? How often is it shared? How often is it reviewed?
So I think it's probably fair to say that we've always collected the data that I've talked to you about now. And we have shared that out in pockets or in our schools. But I really think we're understanding the need to share that out more with our community, which is why last May we gave the first
Community meeting Brown County or community meeting the students within the district?
So what I mean by community would be that we probably need to share this information out at school board meetings like this, with updates and things. We would need to share that out maybe through our articles about what we're doing. But we would also be sharing with the state because of the GPS system. So now it will be required as of 2024 that data is shared with the state.
We also would be sharing it with our education workforce advisory team, which is our very large stakeholder group. We meet twice a year. This would also be information that we would share out in our new ambassador program that will roll out in August in the fall. So we have a lot of platforms that we want to be able to collaborate and communicate on all things that we are trying to do to meet the needs of all of us.
So I guess if I were to break this down and looking at it, because you can collect data from your polling place. What metrics are you using to measure the success of the things you're doing?
So to date, what's been collected is not the same as what is being suggested in the future. So we state report information that the state by law requires us to report through a state reporting portal, right? And then if you look on our website, there are state report cards that we're required to publish directly on our website. There's also a link to a data portal called InView, which allows you to look up any, right? But there is a published report card that we have a link to, it's a PDF, and it has a page for the district, has a page for every school, and it talks about our test scores, it talks about our suspension expulsion rates, it talks about all that. That's what we've been reporting, because that's how we've been evaluated by the state.
Right, so, but my question is.
Stop for a second. I'm going to do a very concrete thing. If you ask me the same question over, I stop. It is an evolving process. High school graduation on track. That's being checked on a regular basis because if it's not being checked on a regular basis, that student doesn't graduate on time. So So therefore, there are processes in place, listen until I finish.
So what's the correct?
Listen till I finish, sir. There are processes in place to make sure those students stay on track to get the credit they need to graduate either in December, for some graduate early, or by that following May. So some of these are things at end of the year, some of the things are things that are constantly going on. There is not something you can walk up and put your finger on there and go, think that. It's a evolving process, multiple departments, multiple people, and just as Deb said, some of it is beyond our control, it's required by the state.
Understood.
You want to go argue with the state, go right ahead.
No, I don't want to argue with the state. What I want to understand is how is Franklin County School District using this program? And what targets are they setting? And how are they being measured? So it sounds like you're being measured by the state.
Yeah, I will, I tell you what, I don't know that if we will be able to answer that in a very succinct manner right now. I would love, I can follow up with you tomorrow,
That's
and
fine.
we can set up a time, and maybe we can get some other people in, so we can just chat about it, if that would be okay.
The other question I have is how long has this program been in place? Just this one hasn't been funded before.
That's what we're saying, the class of 25 is the first class that will be set this.
I thought this was something that existed before that.
No. And in fact, what I wanted to point out too is that the state is having a terrible problem. They say these are our goals, but even they can't decide on the definition of what is hard work, right? What is communication skills? Like they're still grappling with how are they gonna collect data that meets these words and these goals. And so they haven't even told us yet in some of these cases how that's going to be measured.
The only thing that is in existence is that first block.
Right, so the things that you kind of have in place for,
Right, which everybody has measured.
was not my understanding that this was something that was just starting. It was my understanding that this was the way that it was structured.
No, and that's why we're talking about like this is why we have folks who are in this job who are getting us ready to be ready for these things. It's a whole new, and again, we always used to look at, where are your test scores? And we want to, all of us want to move beyond that. But then when you move beyond that, how do you exactly compare school district A to school district B on some metric or something? And that's really difficult.
So
So it's not just us, we're not coming up with those standards.
right. So what's the method of feedback to the state? Make adjustments. Is that so that this gentleman's driving?
Yeah, I think he's gonna answer some of your questions.
No, I'm just saying, at least that you're the
Yeah,
key.
it's all gonna be posted to like the state's website, so you can keep track of these indicators and see how successful the goal is to see how successful your school is in real time, is the goal. And part of this is the completion of the graduation pathway. So graduation requirements have changed just slightly. And so you can see there's 3 different buckets. You've got your diploma type, so you're accomplishing enough credits to receive a diploma, whether that's 440 academic honors, technical honors, or a general diploma. There is now a measure for employability skills, that you got proof that you've completed some sort of project-based learning, service-based learning, or work-based learning, and then produce some sort of product that shows that, whether that's a portfolio or artifacts from those different experiences. And then the last thing is the post-secondary ready competency. So you've got an SAT score or an ACT score or an honors diploma. We'll check off your box for that post-secondary ready competency. But the one I wanted to focus on here, which is the new part, is the CTE concentrators. So if a child doesn't have a high enough SAT score, doesn't receive an honors diploma, or high enough ACT score, there's an option here for class of 2023 and then class of 2025 and beyond to be able to complete certain what they call CTE concentrators, which I'll explain in a little bit more detail here in just a second. That would be their means to achieving that box along with their diploma and then their display of skills. All right, so this is called the Next Level Program to Study. And ultimately, what the Next Level Program to Study would be is that a child would take 3 different courses, a principles course, then what they call a concentrator A course, and then a concentrator B course. So whether that's take course their freshman year, their sophomore year, their junior year in one program of study, right? So if they decide to take biomedical pathway, right, they would take Principles of Biomedical Science, the principles course, and then they would take the next two courses in that sequence. If they get a C or higher in those three courses, that would then be their means to graduate outside of an SAT score or an honors diploma. They do have a capstone course there, which is anybody that is completing it for 4 years. So maybe they want to go to the 4th year biomed program. I know he has a couple students in that 4th year biomed program, and it's almost it's a capstone course where he has them do some independent studies, some research, and they have to come up with a presentation. So the state has authorized certain programs of study that schools can offer, and my team has been working to try and determine which programs of study we are going to be able to offer in-house at Brown County High School. And to try and determine which ones we would offer, we've taken several things into account, and one of those is just the needs of the region. Right? So Regional Opportunity Initiative, I've had the opportunity to take part in a career coaching fellowship over the last several months. We meet once a month, and they've kind of given us some insight. We've met at Crane, and we met over at IU with the Biomedical, the Life Sciences Center, and also over at Ivy Tech at the Biotechnical Center there. And so they've talked to us a lot about the jobs available in our region. After conducting a regional needs assessment, they determined that there's more life sciences jobs in this region that can potentially be filled. There's like hundreds of biotechnical jobs. National security and defense down at Crane have tons of jobs available. Advanced manufacturing, there's a lot of, it blew my mind when I went to RLI how many jobs are available within just an hour's drive of here.
And these jobs were available before the pandemic.
Yes. So we really kept that in mind. We were trying to figure out the programs of study that we would be offering here at the high school. Also keeping in mind just some of the local values and the local needs as far as the arts, entrepreneurship, hospitality, and tourism, and then also just sustainability of the community. Right. So that's one thing that my team has been working on. Other things involved with the Career Connected Learning Initiative really revolves around, we've got 20 goals that were set. Christy has developed 20 goals for the district. I just put 4 up here that I feel are personally relevant to my role at the high school and my team. And so part of our work this year is revolved around helping to develop a corporation education workforce advisory board, and then eventually academy councils for each academy out of that education workforce advisory board. And we had our first reconvening meeting that was back in December, where we got a group of local stakeholders together to learn about the different opportunities that they could serve on the education workforce advisory team. One of the biggest things I spend my time doing is aligning our professional developments to career connected learning in our PLC meetings that we have weekly over at the high school. As I said, I'm a master teacher, so help lead those. And I'm kind of the guy that puts the career connected learning spin on there. Because leading professional development at the high school can be a little tricky because you've got departments and teachers teaching different things. We found common language when we talk about employability skills, right? It's something that all the teachers can get behind and find ways to implement in their classrooms because it's not math specific or reading specific or anything like that. So that's just a lens that I've been helping to kind of develop during our professional development, our PLCs at the high school. We've developed a schedule that has our academy leaders meeting in common planning time. So during SRTs, 38 minutes every day that we have, I meet with our team members, and we are working to develop and implement CCL lessons for all students that they have at that time. So the whole goal is that we are working to intentionally develop a career learning system that meets the requirements and needs of the state, region, and the county. Right, this is ongoing work. And this is just my first year in the position. But what I'm trying to say is that the state is kind of taking notice of some of these bigger picture items, right? Some of these career connections, the ideas of work ethic, communication, those kinds of things. And so we're proactively trying to give teachers the resources and capacity to be able to implement and intentionally teach those things, right? Rather than saying, okay, my students gave a speech as far as that checks the communication box, but how can you intentionally teach those students how to communicate effectively? I just sat in a lesson the other day where one of our other master teachers led a lesson to a freshman on just how to, the art of small talk, right? How do you start a conversation? How do you ask follow-up questions? Different things like that. So that is some of the things that are going on with the Career Connected Learning Initiative there at the high school. And also we have been working to tie this all together with developing programs of study, which is now a requirement by the state that can help some of our students graduate and ultimately can help our region, help our community, and help students graduate to be able to be prepared to go into one of these fields. And so these are the ones that we kind of laid out here with advanced manufacturing, life sciences, national security, defense, arts, hospitality, entrepreneurship, and also as far as sustainability of the community. We've got construction, early childhood development. Are the ones that we have outlined so far. I think Mr. Austin is going to be presenting next week. You guys get the pleasure of hearing Mr. Austin give you the rundown of the different programs of study, the courses that go into these programs of study that students will be able to take next year at the high school. So if you're interested, come back next week and we'll hear more.
Right.
No pressure.
I'm wondering if we need to add under sustainability needs.
Go.
I mean, daycare workers.
There is
but
one-
teaching after that.
Yes, our team did talk about there is an education professions, but there are some constraints to being able to offer people to teach it.
And that's not the daycare, I mean, that really, training will be a want, or if you want to be a therapist, if you want to be a social worker, you want to be a teacher, it is a want. Right, what are you not talking about?
See the overlap too with some part of, so I think next week we also have to do, because those early childhood education courses can also serve as some of the principal courses in other areas, business, creative arts.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christine. Very important. We do not have any discussion items. Next, we have approval of public session minutes from January 20th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
I so move we approve the public session minutes from January 2022.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Roll call.
Carol?
Yes.
Amy? Yes. Vicky? Yes. Stephanie?
Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is action items.
I have the recommendation to approve the donation of $1,000 from Paul Boyles to the Brown County High School Winter Guard.
We have a motion to approve the donation of $1,000 from Mr. Boyles to the Brown County High School Winter Guard.
We have a winter guard.
We have
That's I believe part of the band program.
I did, yeah, I did.
It's very-
We had any.
Right.
Split daughter was in it, yeah. When I hadn't heard anything.
They were practicing today.
Oh, they were?
Mhm.
That's neat. Yes.
Great. I'll second that, and I want to thank Mr. Boyles.
any discussion, further discussion? Roll call.
Carol?
Yes.
Amy? Yes. Vicky? Yes. Stephanie? Yes. Steve?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Hey, David,
Motion carries.
you need to tell me, probably needs to turn his camera back on. He needs to be seen.
All right. Motion carried. Next.
I have the recommendation to approve the maternity leave request for Van Buren Elementary School teacher Alyssa Davron, beginning approximately April 5th, 2022 through the conclusion of the 21-22 school year.
We have a motion to accept maternity leave request for Ms. Kathy Sisson. Starting until approximately.
Also move. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Steve.
yes,
Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
I have the recommendation to approve Emily Tracy to attend the AASA School Superintendent Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, February 17th to the 19th, 2022.
We have a motion to approve the conference.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say I'm really glad that you're going to get to attend a national conference. I think that's really important. Thank you. I'm glad you're going to get to go.
All right, roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Steve.
yes,
Thank you. Motion carries. Next.
I have the recommendation to approve the following teachers to attend the NIET National Conference in Dallas, Texas, March 9th through 11th, 2022. The following teachers listed.
We have a motion to accept the that we have listed to attend the NIET conference in Dallas in March 9th through 11th, 2022.
I so move.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to clarify that's paid for out of the NIET grant money, correct? For them to go do training with that organization, right? So that's not out of our normal budget. Nope, they pay for flight, they pay for hotel, and they pay for registration to the conference. Excellent. All right.
And with that, roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Steve.
yes,
Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
I have the recommendation to remove the shuttle portion for Peyton Transport Bus 31 from the fleet contract 2019-2023 with Sarah Payton for her request effective January 3rd, 2022.
We have a motion to accept the recommendation to remove the shuttle portion of contract plus 31 contract 2019 to 2023. Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Do we have somebody taking over that, or do we not need that no more? or-
Yeah, it's not needed, and transportation director has figured out a way to make it happen where we don't need to do that. So
Okay.
we got it all worked out. It helps both parties.
Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie, Steve.
yes,
Motion carries. And next is consent agenda items.
I have the separation for Brown County Middle School Assistant Track Coach Kyle McGay effective January 26, 2022 through the transfer of Brown County High School Health Assistant Kara Haywood to Sprunica Elementary School Head Secretary effective January 31st, 2022. This is a replacement for Jennifer Webb.
Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda item as presented beginning the separation of the middle school assistant track coach Kyle Gay and ending with the transfer of high school health assistant Kara Haywood to Sprunica head secretary?
Also,
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Carol,
Yes.
Amy,
yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Steve.
yes,
Motion carries. Next, superintendent's report.
I wanted to give a brief update on COVID-19. Our county is at level red. The last board meeting that we had from January 21st through today, February 10th, we had a total of 33 students with positive cases and 6 staff members. But at the same time, I also am elated to highlight that this week, only 5 positive cases, and we've now had 2 days in a row with 0 positive cases. So that's the first yet this year. That's incredible for us. And then the symptomatic percentages as of the end of today, February 10th, is ranging from 2.6% to 0.7. So those are considerably less than what they were when we came back from winter break. So again, excited to see those numbers and hope that is the trend moving forward. And then lastly, I just wanted to take a moment to state a few thoughts. Brown County has, this district, we have been heartbroken over the tragic loss of one of our students last Friday, February 4th. Our hearts, thoughts, prayers go out to the family, our friends, the entire community here. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the board, the leadership team, the community supports that have rallied behind everybody here to be able to provide support and resources for all of our kids, our staff members, and again, just our entire school community. So, thank you.
So moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much. See you next week.